It is 12:22 p.m. The bus going to Appleton just drove away with a gentleman named Rick and one of my $2 bills. Now, this says my camera is not responding, but it's recording, silly cell phone. So I asked Rick, who's been sitting here for about 10-15 minutes, all the questions I needed to about the transit system that goes to the mall in Appleton, Wisconsin. So at about 20 minutes after the hour, or 21 minutes after the hour, the bus pulls up by this bus stop right here. Mr. Mrgrrr gets on. Mr. Mrgrrr can stuff his bicycle in the front of the bus and take my bicycle with me on my trip to Appleton. So that might just be a very cool and interesting idea. I might have to take this off, otherwise someone will steal it. And I definitely need to get a decent bike lock. So I might not be taking the bike on the first voyage because I don't have a good bike lock, but man, the wheels are turning. Because one of the things that old people used to do in the past is walk the mall. So old people would get together in a group, and then here. Let me do this. Can I do this? Or do I want to do this? I want to do this. Okay. Can you see me? All right. That was such a technological fail, big time. That's because I had the camera facing the wrong way, but now things are back in order. Mr. Mrgrrr does like to do his videos in one take, and anytime there's editing or multiple takes, it makes me feel like the moment is cheapened. But the splash pad is abandoned. No senior citizens at the splash pad today. I'm gonna drive my bike around the splash pad and not through it because the sign says, please do not use wheeled vehicles in the splash pad. But I think if I go around the perimeter, that is not a breach of the rules. I'm all about rules. I design board games. So if there's anybody that's concerned with rules, it's Mr. Mrgrrr. Now, as I was saying before I interrupted myself with my technological mishap, is that in the old days, senior citizens would get together in droves and they would walk the mall together. Way to stay busy, way to stay social. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know if senior citizens do that anymore. But what I know senior citizens do now is they play some wicked good pickleball. I was playing pickleball with my friends at the park. We had a group of 3, so we were kind of short one. And all these random senior citizens, a guy named Scott, a lady named Barb, a gentleman named Tom, they all joined our trio to play pickleball. And they all kicked ass. So we are at a golden age where senior citizens can lay the smack down. Now here's a scene you don't see every day. You got my son's sippy cup, and it's not full of refreshing beverage. It's full of scalding hot water and Dawn dish soap. And we have my old, gently used Brillo pad here. Notice those yellow spots on that? That is pure 100% turmeric. I put so much turmeric in my food, I'm surprised I'm not yellow as SpongeBob SquarePants. But I'm gonna take this water, I'm gonna take this sponge, and I'm gonna do my best to try to, I'm gonna use the non-turmeric side. And if I was a smarter man, I would have brought my protective case so I could pour the water on the sponge over the phone and even have some of the water fall onto the phone for effect. But you know what? My degrees, and there are many of those, are not in art. They are not in film. But you know what? They gave like Oprah, I think, honorary doctorate. So maybe there'll be some school of film that says, hey, you know what, Mr. Gurr? After further review and 30 some odd years of making films on digital cameras, we are going to give you an honorary degree in cinematography. Now, YouTube hasn't been around that long. I think I started putting my YouTube videos up in 2009. So I've been doing that for about 15 years. But before that, I would just burn all my videos onto DVDs. And before I did that, I would burn them onto CDs. So the YouTube thing isn't a cry for help. It isn't a publicity stunt. It isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not a anything more than a lesson in personal accountability, because anybody could come up to my door, knock on it, and say, hey, Mr. Gurr, I heard you writing a diary every day. And I'll be like, yes, sir, that's true. And like, well, can you prove it? And I'll be like, yes, sir. Would you like to read my diary? And they'd be like, no, thanks. And they'll walk away, and that's fine. So I have a disclaimer on some of my videos now. I think that's a good thing. My wife said, hey, my wife has a legal mind. She's like writing for law journals now. My wife is so freaking smart. She says, you need a disclaimer on your videos, because you know what? People can interpret things any way they want, dear. And people can say that you're being hostile or you're being mean, you know. Let's look at that debate between Donald Trump and Kamala that happened recently. Well, a lot of people having a lot of opinions about that sort of thing, so let's clean this off a little bit. My goal is to make the world a better place when I leave it, not worse. And then you know what? We're going to need some more elbow grease. So I'm going to stop talking so I can use two hands and get this done. I forgot my Mr. Clean earring. Man, Mr. Gurr needs to step up his game, that's for sure. Well, I'm out of tape. I think I did a good enough job on the sign. I've been sitting here on my butt for the last 17 minutes. I just got a phone call from the state of Wisconsin informing me that, well, Mr. Gurr, Mr. Gerald Van Ryken, your services are no longer required by the state of Wisconsin. So as of today, 9/11, I am no longer a state employee. So what does that mean? Well, that means a lot of things. A lot of things. But the first thing is I'm going to need to get me some more tape.